Welcome to episode 50 of the Left Behind Game Club. This week we play The Wolf Among Us, Season 1, Episode 4, A Sheep in Wolf's Clothing. This is our 50th episode of the show, and if you've been listening for one episode or all 50 episodes, we just want to say thank you. We would not be here without you. If you like the show, consider a review on Apple Podcast. A 5-star rating and an accompanying review goes a long way. Episode 4 of The Wolf Among Us starts out with a bang, and it made some of us a little sick.
So how did you guys feel then when you have to reset the bone yourself?
So I was sitting in the couch in the fetal position, just like visibly
Heaving. Just
heaving hard, because you have to like place the bone, and it's not the first time that gets it.
Right.
You literally have to pull the bone out and put it. It's not good.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCourt, and today I have two friends with me. The first friend, you know him, you love him. His name is Michael Ruffolo.
I'm excited to talk about another great episode.
Let's talk about another great episode with another great friend. His name is Murtadi.
Episode 4. Let's go, boys.
A very special milestone for the Left Behind Game Club, episode 50. Congratulations, gentlemen, on 50 episodes of this program.
We did it. Congrats, Jake.
We made it.
Congratulations, and thanks to everyone at home who's listening to this. We would not be here without you. This is the 4th episode of The Wolf Among Us. We have had 3 episodes prior to this, episodes 47, 48, and 49. If you've not listened to those, I would recommend that you probably go back to those.
Yeah.
Might be a good idea. You can hear how terrible I was to children, how Mike was just an upstanding fellow.
He's just a nice guy.
And how Mo kind of ebbed and flowed depending on the situation.
My big bad wolf was from Canada. You know, he was a nice guy. He's just a friendly dude.
Here's the thing, though. Not all Canadians are nice.
That's true. But, you know, playing on stereotypes.
Most of them
exactly. This is the 4th episode, In Sheep's Clothing. Gentlemen, can one of you open up this wonderful episode for us?
So last I checked, we got shotgunned in the face and the chest all over the place by some lovely lady named Bloody Mary. We also got our arms snapped in half, and we met, I guess, the major villain in the series, the Miracle Man, the Mystery Man?
The Crooked Man.
The Crooked Man. So that's kind of where we left off. We saw him kind of drive off in a limousine. We met Bloody Mary, the violent new antagonist, and we're kind of like stuck there, giving up our only asset. What was his name? The little
Ichabod Crane.
You guys are the best.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
So that's kind of where we are. We're broken. We're defeated. We just got messed up, and we see this big bad guy, and we have no idea what's going to happen next and how we're going to take him down.
I wanted to vomit when this episode started because I'm not good with blood or bones.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
I'm real bad with blood and guts of real people, like real people who are like, you know, in surgery or actually hurt. Mm-hmm. But seeing like, you know, video game violence and gore does not bother me at all.
So that's
desensitized.
That's the thing with me, though. I'm the same way as Jacob. When I see realistic, believable portrayals of injuries, especially how The Wolf Among Us did it with the bone sticking out of the hand, your wrist and your palm kind of limp laying down there, that kind of did it for me. I said, that's believable. I'm in the game. I'm this person. I'm the big bad wolf, and my arm is broken. It was bad.
Yeesh. So how did you guys feel then when we get to one of, I think, the first QuickTime events in this, where you have to reset the bone yourself while Dr. Swinehart was pulling all of the hollow shell bullet fragments out of your guts?
So I was sitting in the couch in the fetal position, just like visibly heaving hard, because you have to like place the bone, and it's not the first time that gets it. You literally have to pull the bone out and put it. It's not good.
Mo, were you in the same boat?
Even worse. So I had a weird situation with episode 4. I originally started playing it on my PC, like my home gaming machine, and got maybe like 15 minutes into it and didn't have time to finish it. So when I picked up the game, I was mobile on a laptop on a train.
Oh,
and
no.
I realized I had to start the game over. Now, the wonderful thing about saves is they don't connect to your machine unless you're connected to the internet. There's no like Steam Sync unless you're able to do that. On the train, there's no Steam Sync. I didn't get any of my saves. In my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm about to attach someone's arm and this poor passenger next to me is going to see it.
Can we just imagine and roleplay a second the train passengers who are watching Mo play The Wolf Among Us where a guy's like arm is being replaced? I would probably want to die. I'd be like,
especially with your proclivities of not appreciating gore and violence.
I'd be like, oh, look at that hairy, attractive gentleman in video game form. He looks, oh no.
Sorry, I thought you said hairy, attractive gentleman. I thought you were talking about Mo.
I heard the same thing, Mike. I heard the same thing. I was like, oh, Jacob. Very, very
No, I was
kind.
talking about Bigby.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I mean, no offense, Mo.
No, none taken. I was actually flattered. So... Yeah, it was just as cringy as you guys can imagine. But then again, for me, I said, I have this 4-hour trip. I'm going to be able to knock out episode 4 and episode 5. I don't care who's sitting next to me. Let me just get this game going. So yeah, I put it together. I might have jumped a bit too when I attached the arm back into its socket.
So, okay. So we all get through the mini game or the quick time event of putting our arm and resetting the broken bone. So the first question I want to ask you guys... So this episode was called A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. What do you think that means? How do you think that plays into this episode? Did you have any hints or ideas going into this?
Not really. I think now that you bring it up, Mike, I kind of... This might be like that turning point in the game where you kind of have to decide, like, what big bad wolf are you? Are you the wolf in sheep's clothing? Or maybe are you the fragile sheep that's going to follow along?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
That's kind of where I saw it, because at this point, you hit that wall, you're almost completely defeated. What direction are you going to go? Are you going to go vengeful? Are you not? What are you going to do?
Jacob, what did you think of the title A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing? Did you put any thought to it?
No, I just kind of said, oh, that's a clever... I mean, it's a common turn of phrase, right? So I just thought of it that way, because some of the other episodes, when you go through them, episode 1 is Faith, episode 3 was A Crooked Mile. Like, I just didn't think anything of it. Please enlighten us if there's something here.
So, without going all the way back to beginning, this game is about finding out that there is an underworld for these glamours and that there is a whole population that Bigby has not been able to take care of as a police officer for these fables, and subsequent murder investigations that have led to this point where the finger's firmly pointed at the crooked man. But the phrase "a wolf in sheep's clothing" tends to mean, well, they look very innocent, but they're actually extremely dangerous. And so that made me think, okay, it could be that the crooked man looks very innocent and is extremely dangerous. Or it could mean someone who seems very innocent so far is actually very dangerous. And so that it got my gears turning, because playing through this whole game, I've been trying to solve the whole mystery of this well before we get to the end, because that's where I get my jollies. That's where I get my rocks off. And so I started thinking, okay, who are the people that are the sheep's, the wolf in sheep's clothing? And there are some, I think some interesting fable themed wolf in sheep's clothing characters, but I think we'll probably get to that as we go through the story of this episode.
I just adore how differently we've taken these games. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm using this game as therapy. You're taking this game and really looking at it from a holistic point of view, and not pointing accusatory index fingers at people.
Yeah.
Mo, how would you describe kind of how you're playing the game? Because I think Mike and I are on polar opposite ends.
I'm a good guy. Jacob's a bad guy.
I'm just having fun. I'm taking every single scene how I see it. I'm not choosing one persona or the other. I'm just trying to be...
Just living that middle path.
And also living in the moment in this game, because I feel like I'm always thinking about what my actions are going to eventually end up costing me or not costing me. So I process that all at once, and that's kind of how I make my decisions. And if there's something funny, I'll go towards it. If there's something ruthless and it's like, this might be pretty cool, I'll go towards that.
Most philosophy is live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
You know?
Short of having the tattoo on me, that's pretty much it. In this game, that's what I'm doing.
Mo loves more than sitting in front of his computer, playing The Wolf Among Us, and sipping a nice Chianti.
Or on the train.
Making people vomit on public transit.
Right, that's it. I mean, look, hey, sometimes you got to get your fix where you can. Sometimes you get to do it in the comfort of your home with a glass of wine.
You know how I get my jollies?
How?
By being mean to Colin.
Okay, so after you set your arm, you're in your apartment, was it?
Yeah.
And you're surrounded by Dr. Swinehart, Snow White, and Colin, one of the little piggies that you blew his house down, who's talking to you.
He always wants smokes.
He's like the least well-behaved piggy. I thought the piggies were supposed to be pretty innocent, but he sounds like he smokes a couple packs a day. What happens in the apartment?
So really after that you have to decide what you're going to do next, right? So I think that the conversation with Snow White goes a certain way, but with Colin you have to decide.
What is Snow White asking you?
So essentially what you're trying to figure out now is who's in charge of the city. It's definitely all in cahoots. No one knows who's responsible for what. And Snow kind of maybe takes on that role of saying, you know what, this town needs to be changed. I'll step up. I'll be the new leader. I'll start making the shots. And one of the big decisions she calls out is, okay, well then if any of these fairy tale characters don't have their glamour on, they have to go to the farm, and that's kind of like her first ordered decision. And Bigby's stuck in between deciding, does he like kind of back Snow and understand her point of view, or does he support Colin, his roommate, who he's kind of been with, like living together with for a while.
My Bigby was not backed into a corner yet. No qualms about it. Rules are the rules. You wear your glamours if you're an animal. Fable.
Yeah, Colin, you're a freeloader. Get out of my apartment.
Yeah. Even though he does a great job defending you to Snow and saying that, you know, Bigby does what he has to do to get the job done. Like, you can't put shackles on this guy because he's only going to get hurt. And, you know, some situations call for doing things that step outside the law a little bit. What did you guys do in that situation?
I just know that Colin is using me and that he sees the man who's making the bacon, pardon the pun.
Wow.
So I'm just like, Colin, get out of my house. Stop trying to steal my cigarettes.
I felt the complete opposite. I thought I huffed and puffed and blew his damn house down. So I kind of owed him one. And this was kind of the one where I said, you know what, he's also a day one. He lives with me. He's my roommate.
He's a day one.
I'm going to have to make sure he's taken care of.
Crew.
And Snow, she wasn't elected. She's kind of just taking on this position, throwing out orders here and there. Who gives her the right to kind of just boss all these and torment these characters around? I just saw what happened. They can't afford glamours. And you know what? If anything, Colin gets the pass. Maybe we can enforce it to everyone else. I think that's also the route I did. I said Colin can stay, but I'm not enforcing it or whatever.
See, I did feel sympathy for the whole glamours are expensive. And it's unfair to the fables who don't look like humans. And there's kind of... Colin makes an okay argument that, like, he's a pig. Like, you know, it's a weird pet, but some people might have a pet pig. He's
trying to be a ham all the time, and I'm just not about it.
The thing... the thing that...
I could keep going.
Don't, please.
I just tell him to hoof it and hightail it out of here.
Jacob McCourt, the pun lord.
So at this point, though, this is when you kind of find out...
Thank you, Mo.
Yeah. So at this point, this is kind of where you find out that I think Narissa is in talks and wants to speak to you, because she's at the end of that last episode, she saw the interaction with the crooked man and yourself, and she looked like she had a guilty face and wanted to continue the conversation with you. So you kind of trot along back to your office, I guess, and you have like a one-on-one desk kind of chat with her to kind of figure out what's going on. I think this is exactly when, like, she's trying to break through the spell, like when she's talking, or because she's not able to speak specifics about what's been happening, but you can tell somehow, some way, or I guess I picked it up pretty quick, that she's trying to tell me who to look at and what's going on, but she absolutely can't. So it's very vague hints. Did you guys pick up anything early on or no?
Was that not the moment that you find out that the spell is in the ribbon around her throat?
Yeah, because what I did is I think I got to the end of the conversation. It was still a little vague, and I said, like, can I, like, touch the ribbon? And my interaction was she slammed, like, the chair down. She ran away. She's like, don't do that. The most terrible thing will happen if you do that. And that's when you all connect the dots. Okay, all these severed heads are either because this was removed or they told the truth or something in between.
I also just wanted to get to the bottom of things, and I just went for the ribbon.
Oh man, what a Bigby!
I just entered. I pulled a Bigby. Womp womp.
I think this in particular gets you down the same path regardless of what you do. Because my initial playthrough, I got to this point, and I think I asked, like, is there any way to break the spell? And in that dialogue, you kind of reach over to, like, tell her that, and she still freaks out. And then on the train, I think I asked her, like, I can't remember what I did, but I didn't choose that route. And the same, like, similar motion happened. She knocked the chair down, she fell to the wall and said, don't do that.
Absolutely. Yep. She freaked out in mine, and I chose the one that was the most mild because I had pieced it together. I didn't need to try and take it off her and watch her head fall off.
You are a master sleuth.
That's it. I like putting 2 and 2 together and making 4. I like connecting the dots.
Not like them accountants. 2 + 2 = 5.
-1 is 3. Quick maths.
After that, Beauty and the Beast is where you go next, correct?
Yes. You get that phone call or something, or you hear there's a phone call coming.
Narissa gives you the hint. She's like, yes, like, you should definitely go check that out. Where she doesn't tell you exactly what it is, but she's like, yeah, like, definitely go see them. Mm-hmm. And so you head over to the apartments, and you're like, oh, it's true. They do have the smallest apartment in all of the Woodlands. And when you get there, Beast is just not happy to see you. Because when you previously left off, you were in a massive brawl with him, and then after having knocked down the door, you find a bloody bed and a murder scene, and, you know, things don't go well. And so his last interaction with you is you lying to him or fighting with him about where his wife was, and you come to find out that Beast didn't know you were coming over, and it was Beauty that calls you.
Yeah, and when you do kind of connect with them, they're in already an argument. It's a mix between, like, what the just most previous interaction, but you can tell they're, like, stressed out, living together. Something's going on, like, with the household. And not to fast forward too much, but at one point you eventually realize that, hey, Bigby can help them with something, and the phone rings. Once that phone rings, my interaction, I think, was, like, pick up the phone, let Beast answer it, or something along those lines. I can't remember. I think I answered the phone. I think.
And what happened?
I don't think I spoke into the phone, but I heard, like, the guy yelling, saying, like, give us our money, like, we're coming to collect, you've been dodging us for a while, and you realize, they're in somewhere deep,
right? And
they owe money, and, like, he starts talking about their lavish lifestyle, they can't afford things anymore, and then ask him for some help.
Jacob, what did you do with the phone?
Yeah, so their apartment was, like, incredibly well furnished, which was, to me, the first...
fancy.
Yeah, it was fancy, and to me that was the first, like, in a lot of shows you see, like, they're in a small apartment, but then it's, like, lavishly decorated, and you're like, I wonder when they started making some real money.
Right.
So I try to pick up the phone, and I think this is one of the choices that, like, on the surface it appears as though you have a choice, but really you end up in the same place. So you pick up the phone, and that's when I think, like, nobody's on the other line, but you can enter a line of questioning with Beauty and the Beast about, like, why is this person calling? What are you doing, Beast?
Right.
Why do you have all of these lavish things?
Okay, so the 3 options for me was pick up the phone yourself, let Beast pick it up, or let it go to voicemail.
Yes.
And I screwed up because I think I picked the worst choice, which was let Beast answer the phone. Because if you let it go to voicemail, you hear the message they leave, I guess. And if you pick it up, clearly, as Mo said, you hear what they're about to say. In my situation, letting Beast pick it up, you then have to go through further lines of questioning to get to the point of, like, okay, yeah, you're deep in debt. You owe some people some money you definitely don't want to owe money to.
Yeah, my first playthrough, I stopped Beast and I let it go to voicemail to hear the guy talking. And then my second playthrough on that train, that's when I did it your way and I let Beast get it. So I didn't get in for the information, but I kind of already remembered who answered the phone. So I kind of dipped in both sides for that one. So I knew what was going on, but I also let Beast answer the phone.
And that's where you quickly discover that you have 2 options where to go next, right? Because Beast says he's been delivering packages for does he say the crooked man, or does he say I've just been delivering packages?
He says that he's been delivering packages, and he will not admit to knowing what's inside them and exactly who they're for.
Yeah, there's kind of an allusion to maybe the crooked man is involved. But
I don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that I don't want to know.
This is just how I put food on the table and buy these expensive paintings.
Yes.
So that's when you're presenting those options: the Lucky Pawn, the butcher shop. Gentlemen, what did you decide to do first?
I went to the butcher shop.
Butcher shop.
I went to the butcher shop as well.
Okay, so all three of us went to the butcher shop. What happens when you get there?
So you get there, you see that it's pretty dusty, there's not a lot happening, all of the cuts of meat are not fresh, they're frozen, they're rock solid.
So much freezer burn.
Yeah, this place does not look like, people are coming here to buy their meats. And so you can look around, you can interact with the space. Then I think you ultimately ring the bell.
I think before that you're given the option to smoke inside or not.
Right.
Which I smoked inside.
I totally smoked inside too.
Yeah.
I was like, screw these people. I'm going to huff and puff and blow this storefront down. And so, so you ring the bell and the butcher comes out and he's like, oh, shit. He's like, well, Bigby, let's, what kind of cut can I get you? I can cut you a fillet if you want. I can cut you. This top it's half price. I wonder why it's half price.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Ziploc before? That would keep the freezer burn off your meat.
And so you end up cornering him in this conversation, and he's like, let me just go check in the back. And he hits his button on the way, and you move towards the back, and you're like, damn, this dirty damn butcher decided to hit this button. And that's not a good sign.
It's a panic button you come to discover.
Yeah, and so you're walking through the back in this dark butcher space with all of these hanging cuts of Colin just there. Big pork slabs just hanging from the ceiling. And it was so you're trying to track down the sound of the butcher trying to get through and trying to escape. And then you ultimately find him at this back wall trying to move stuff so he can get inside this metal door to the back of the place.
This whole time, though, I'm thinking this shady butcher, but at the same time, too, I wasn't sure if he was in on it or if he actually was an innocent butcher, trying to make his way, maybe stuck in a tough spot. I couldn't tell either way which side he was kind of leaning towards. Did you guys?
I thought he for sure was the wolf in sheep's clothing. I thought that he was a person that looks very meek, mild, and innocent and was going to murder me or attempt to murder me in the back with all of those cuts of meat. This guy, just because he doesn't sell much doesn't mean he doesn't know how to cut things. Okay?
Yeah. I got right to the back, so there's a confrontation at the back. I thought this was a really cool set piece moment where you're walking through. I was tickled pink the whole time I was walking through these Collins on the hooks. And all you can hear from the back is Johan, that's the butcher's name, kind of call out and be like, oh, don't come back here. I'm just tidying up. Just don't mind me. And you finally get to the back. You confront him, and you see a bunch of delivery boxes that Beast would have been delivering, and you have a physical confrontation with Johan. So what did you guys do when you got to him? Did you question him, or did you start to get physical?
Oh, I'm a good wolf. I'm a good big bad wolf. So I didn't lean on him too much. I just asked him questions. Mo?
I punched him square in the face. No. I definitely got physical. I was kind of frustrated. I said, this guy, if he doesn't know anything, he's still getting the hammer because he's not giving me any information whatsoever. So I gave him a punch or whatever.
Okay. And I don't even have to ask what Jacob did. We know we beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, squeezed his face real good.
Ooh. And what happens to his face when you squeeze it?
He makes these sounds like you're squeezing someone's face. Ugh. Just imagine you're squeezing someone's face. What sound does it make? I have a problem.
You do.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So you get into the back and you find essentially a chemistry lab and a code on the wall for all of these different glamours. And you end up talking with Johan and you find, okay, this is where they're mass producing these glamours. These are for all the people they're producing the glamours, and they can make this stuff nonstop. And you see these shackles on the ground, and they're bloody. And there's all kinds of stuff there. And you realize that fables have been enslaved here, making these glamours. This is not something that people are doing willingly. Because if you have someone that you're paying a decent wage and they would do that willingly, you don't need to shackle them to the ground. So clearly some things that are not going well have happened back here. And it sounds like they've been happening for a while, ever since the AC broke down and they forced their way back there. And so you end up finding out that it's the Jersey Devil, Bloody Mary, and who else? They ended up playing a card game back there in the middle of a heat wave. And he thought he was doing them a favor, and then they squeeze in. So
and just start taking over his operation.
Yeah, they took over, just like the mob.
Just like the mob. All that I could think of. Oh, shoot, it's a meth lab. Breaking Bigby. That's all I thought immediately.
Breaking Bigby.
That's immediately what I thought of when I entered this place. I did not expect like a glamour lab in the back of this butcher shop.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. It kind of came from out of nowhere, just with him opening up that gate, cranking it open, and then holy crap, it's Breaking Bad, like Jacob said. And that's, yeah, exactly with Mike. I got to the same point. It's becoming like a crime mob, mafia kind of storyline now. You understand there's a big guy at play, he's got lieutenants, and everyone's staying silent or else they get their ribbons pulled. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where we kind of, I guess, finish off with the butcher.
So one of the details that I'm wondering if you guys picked up on, and it made like the hair on the back of my neck stand up. So we see, if you inspect the whiteboard, that there are all of these lists of names of different fables who need glamours. Did you guys take a look at the list of names?
Not at all.
The only thing that I noticed in particular was that they were sending glamours to the farm, too. That's all that I noticed, which I'm like, why are they sending glamours to the farm? You don't need a glamour if you're at the farm. But what did you notice, Mike?
So there's Mrs. White up there.
Yo, what?
Right? There's a Mrs. White on that board. There's a Mr. White as well, which confused me. But there's a Mrs. White up there.
Yo.
Yeah, so it was like, are you telling me that Snow White is glamoring as other people and doing things? Or is this telling me that people are glamoring as Snow White and maybe the person that I'm interacting with is not Snow White?
Yeah, because they don't specify, like, is the list for who you're turning into,
right,
or who the client is.
It's just a list, and that's so funny, Mike. Your head must have been spinning because you're already thinking about the wolf in sheep's clothing. Snow White's going to be the villain. Oh my god, like trembling now. You figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. I started like, oh damn, like I can't back Snow in anything now because like she might be the wolf in sheep's clothing. She might be the one who orchestrated all of this to knock down Ichabod Crane and become the new mayor of Fabletown.
Oh my god.
This could be a political drama more than a crime drama.
I just picture Mike hyperventilating like, oh my god, I did it. I figured it out. I beat the game in episode 4. Now I don't even need to play episode 5.
I was tempted to send you guys messages like, wolf in sheep's clothing? Could it be? Mrs. Snow White?
What did you do when you figured that out? Did you like throw down your controller and you were like, I'm done?
Well, I wasn't convinced that I had figured it out, but it definitely made me think like, okay, there are way more options here for how this story can go than what I was initially thinking. So it definitely opened up the possibility space.
Now that our minds are blown, can you just help us bring them back and say,
where do we go from here?
We have to go to the Lucky Pawn.
Right. So we head to the Lucky Pawn, and you find the Jersey Devil getting into a fight with the Huntsman. And the Huntsman's like, my dude, where is my axe? And the Jersey Devil's like, what kind of place do you think this is that you can just leave stuff here and it's going to be here when you get back? Like, this is also a storefront. And so they start getting into a fight, and you kind of have to decide, who are you going to back up in this fight? Which seems like a pretty easy choice to me. I don't know about you guys. What did you do?
I took down the old man with the glasses because I knew he was a lieutenant for the mob bosses. He's definitely just as bad as Bloody Mary. And I know Woody had like a genuine... He just wanted to rough the guy out because he sees him as just like a tiny dude, maybe. So I definitely took down the new bad guy that I don't know nothing about.
Mike, what did you do?
I totally fought the Jersey Devil. I was like, there's no way I'm fighting the Huntsman in this case. Like, he's got a legit situation. Also, screw the Jersey Devil.
What if you hate them both and there's a secret third option?
Is there a third option, Jacob?
Just let the timer go and just let them fight.
Did you do that?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you can let the timer go and they just fight.
I don't know why I felt I had to make a decision. I could have enjoyed the show.
This is the first time in this whole series where I'm just like, I'm not going to make a choice here. Like, I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm really glad that I did because I just let them fight. Because I hate them both because I'm Bigby. I'm playing my role. I hate everyone. So I just let them fight. And that's when the Jersey Devil reveals his true form. And let me tell you, the first time that I saw that true form, holy smokes, what great character design.
That's the craziest thing too. I think for him, his original like glamored up look. So just to kind of, for anyone that hasn't played it, hopefully you guys are playing along. But
He
just
looks
in
like
case,
someone from Jersey.
yeah, no, he's just like a skinny middle-aged man, balding, has a bald spot on the back of his head. The whole
Like
spiel.
someone from Jersey.
Yeah, just not intimidating looking at all. And all of a sudden, when he transforms, he turns into like a deer-headed mega soldier Batman with giant horns and a skull face. That's kind of the best way I can really explain it. And can you guys chime in at all?
Pass, Mike?
That Mo described it perfectly.
Yeah,
Like a gargoyle with a chicken face.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And this is where it kind of gets crazy because he just starts diving, swinging, punching, and you get one of the awesome Wolf Among Us like quick time events where you start fighting him, bashing his head in, punches, swinging, and all of a sudden, splat! The woodsman throws his axe through his skull, and in my head, I don't know about you guys, I thought that's not going to kill him. It's never killed anyone in the past. What's happening? Why are we doing this again?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, like you're in this real fight. Why don't you just actually finish him off? And so I think the woodsman ends up just hovering the axe over the Jersey Devil's throat. And then you get into a discussion with the Jersey Devil, trying to, I guess, squeeze information out of him while you can. Mm-hmm. What do we end up getting out of him?
Well, I think two things. You first end up finding out about the Crooked Man's lair and how you access it. But the whole reason...
Movable doors.
Yes. And also the whole reason you're here is because at the butcher shop, you're actually told you need to find the last piece of the magic mirror, which is in Crane's coat.
Ichabod Crane's coat. So it is Ichabod Crane then that destroys the mirror.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So you have to, one, you find it open doors, and then two, Ichabod Crane get that magic mirror.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it kind of gets a little mystic and kind of cool with that door-changing little Easter egg they drop. Well, not Easter egg, but just fact about how to get to the Crooked Man's lair. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, every once in a while is what they're implying. The door changes, and it's in a different location in the real world. So it becomes like, okay, this like kind of fairy tale-ish world that we live in that they've kind of made normal. This is the first kind of like crazy bit of magic that you kind of see firsthand.
So we know now, so we search Ichabod Crane's jacket, we find the missing piece, and we know we have to go back to the business office to fit the mirror back together, to find where the Crooked Man is, to find the door to get to him, and then to get there. Mm-hmm. And so we end up hustling back to the business office, and we hand the puzzle piece, or we hand the piece of the mirror to our little friend Bufkin.
Who?
Bufkin.
Butt monkey?
Butt monkey, that's it. Butt monkey. We give it to our little friend from Oz, and he's like, this won't go in the mirror. It's fighting me. It doesn't want to go there. And you're like, I don't know, stupid mirror, just fit back together. I'm trying to fix you. And then we end up finding out that because the mirror was witness to the fight at the pawn shop and to Bloody Mary in general, it took on some of that voodoo magic, some of that mojo, and was going to resist being put back together. And then once Bufkin knows this, our little butt monkey friend, he decides, okay, I know what to do now. I know how to caress this piece and get it back into a hole and make it work. Is that a good summary?
That's a pretty good summary. And that's when the mirror finally comes back to life, and you immediately are like, I need to know where Crane is.
Did you rhyme?
No, I didn't rhyme.
Of course you didn't.
Screw that.
You're no fun.
Rhyming is for
Mo,
children.
Did you rhyme?
Of course I rhymed. Those are the rules to play the game.
Yeah, it was freestyling on that mirror.
I refuse. I tried to freestyle one time while we recorded, and it just went poorly, so I said, no way, let's not do it.
I figured Bigby had some flow, some rhymes, some skills.
No skills, but you
MC
see...
Bigby.
MC Bigby, you see where Crane is with Bloody Mary, and she's like, you need to go to Paris and go away.
Do you see?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One of my things about this game was like, I don't think I know where Crane ends up. So Crane ends up being sent off somewhere.
Yeah, so there's you'll see Bloody Mary and Crane, and Bloody Mary's like, you need to leave, you need to go to Paris. And that's kind of...
Gotcha.
And the most badass thing happens where Bloody Mary is like knows that she's being watched, and she uses her magic to prevent you from watching her. Bloody Mary is a badass in this game.
She's crazy.
Don't mess with her.
No, definitely don't mess with her.
It was really cool, too. She just looks right at you looking in the mirror, and you can tell she knows what's going on because Bloody Mary, she deals with mirrors all the time. Professional mirror officer over here. Yeah, and she destroys it. The one thing we kind of tiptoed over was this is one of like the major, I guess, decisions of the game was I know exactly what Jacob did, so I guess I'll ask Mike. Did you
What do you mean, guys? Come on.
Did you send Toad to the farm?
Of course I sent Toad to the farm.
I sent Toad to the farm as well. Jacob, I'm assuming you kicked him to the farm.
Wow, gentlemen, we agree for once. And on my platform, only 22.2% of players sent the TJ and Toad to the farm.
Same. I did not think I was being harsh. I was like, this is the third time I found you, Toad person, not glamored as a person.
Yeah, you're going to get us in trouble. You need to glamour up.
There was complications every time with him if we didn't interact properly with him. The one time he kind of lied, his boy was in danger because the Tweedledees and Tweedledums are at their place.
He's not helpful.
Yeah, just send him to the farm. He'll be fine over there. I know it sucks, but in my head, because I'm thinking I am the big bad wolf, I'm like, oh, he'll come back soon. This is just a temporary to make sure the city gets safe, and then we'll bring all the citizens back, even though that's not part of the story. That's what I thought.
Bigby, you're making me go to the farm. Is that a bad?
That's a bad Mr. Toad.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But better than most of yours. Yeah,
Thank
better
you.
than most impressions.
I think it's the hate coming through, gentlemen. So you find out what's going on there, and you have to see... I think the next piece is figuring out how to get to the Crooked Man, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So you look in the mirror, you see that the Crooked Man's seal is moved to a new door somewhere in, I think, Greenwich Village?
Central Park.
Oh, Central Park. That's where it was. And so Bigby storms on out to go get there as soon as possible before the seal moves. And when you get to the door, you open it up, you go through this gate, and who greets you on the other side? But little tiny Tim.
We're approaching the holiday season, so I didn't click immediately that it was like Scrooge and Tiny Tim.
Are you kidding me?
I look, I'm not a big fairy tale guy.
What other...
No one read to me when I was a child.
He looks like Tiny Tim in every way.
What does Tiny Tim look like?
Exactly like the character in the Wolf Among Us. Like exactly.
No, I had no idea.
Smaller.
I read the Bernstein Bears when I was a child. I didn't.
Berenstain.
Bernstein Bears.
This is where I was like, again, kind of surprised. I'm like, Tiny Tim. So one, I didn't call him Tiny Tim. I respected him to his face. And
call him Big Tim.
Yeah, Big Tim, because he was growing up a bit. I was surprised because it sounded like he liked working for the Crooked Man. And I was like, oh, so this is where they're going to start throwing in some more moral grays here.
So with Tim, though, throughout that little kind of part where he's walking you to this random doorway, we don't know what's going on whatsoever. We just know you're being followed along to a doorway, and you're kind of given the option. Do you be kind to him? For me, I figured, you know what, this might be a complete story turn. I might not understand what's going on. It might get flipped on its head. So I was totally patient with him. I walked to the door slowly. He really wanted to walk me to the door because he said that's his only job and he has to do it. So I said, what's it going to hurt? I don't hear any commotion. Followed along, opened the doorway, and sure enough, what do we see? It's like a round table of baddies. Yep.
And I totally felt the same way. I was like, one, sure, I'm going to totally respect this guy. Let him do his job. The second thing was, it's like, why would I want to be in front of him? I'm not going to turn my back to someone who works for the guy who I'm going up against. And also, if something bad is going to happen, I'd rather have his back to me or us being side by side. Just from a purely paranoid strategic perspective. Jacob, you were a complete cold to him. I can totally guarantee. Was that what you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
I walked fast because I'm like, I don't have time. I'm a busy man. I'm a detective.
I don't have time, Tiny Tim.
Yeah, you need to walk faster. I need to walk faster. I walk faster. Let's go.
And how did he react to that?
He was not pleased by that.
Right.
I think that I kind of made him feel, tiny as a man. So I just busted through those doors, and man, what a scene when you walk into that office.
Yeah, there's a lot of aggression in that room.
Did anything come of you kind of rushing along and getting to the door before Tiny Tim got there, or was it just a side part of the story that didn't influence anything?
Well, no, the Crooked Man, Tim enters afterwards, and he's very apologetic. You can tell that he respects the Crooked Man a lot for everything that he's done for him. And the Crooked Man, surprisingly, I was expecting mafia boss, in the Godfather sense, not this very nice. He was almost nice, the Crooked Man.
He was gentlemanly.
Yeah. He's like, Tim, it's all right. Was he British? I don't remember. But
I don't think he was.
no, but in my mind, he's British, because in my mind, everyone in this game is British except for Bigby. But he said, it's all right. You're fine. And that's when I just went on a tirade and was just mean to everyone.
Yeah, you were a dickle.
Yeah, well, there's only one choice left. Once you enter the room and you see the remainder of, if you've...
All the lieutenants together.
Yeah, if you've killed D, he's not there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I killed D, remember?
I was really frustrated in mine, which I guess we'll explain in the next episode. That he was a bit of a dick, and I'm like, my dude, I didn't kill you. I spared your life. Mm-hmm. What are you going to look at me like this for?
Oh, and see, I just got the eyes, but understandably, I killed his brother.
Yeah, you killed his brother.
Yeah. And then the final choice you're given, I will read out the options.
Okay.
You have the option of, the Crooked Man invites Bigby to talk. The options you're given are, no, you're coming with me. All right, let's talk. You can threaten him, or you can just smoke.
So... Mo, what did you do? Because I'm not actually convinced I know what Jacob did here.
I approached it just like how I guess most of us did. We don't know much about this. This is definitely a bad guy. I can't really get into a fight because every bad person is here. So I said, all right, let's talk.
Wow.
Let's see if we can figure this out.
Okay. I lit up in his nice cigar room.
Nice.
Is that what you did, Jacob?
No, I threatened him.
Oh my gosh.
I was actually torn. I was like, which one is more disrespectful? Just smoking up in this guy's room, or, saying you're coming with me, dickhole, let's go.
Mm-hmm. No, I threatened him to his face.
What happens when you threaten him?
It's like a hard cut to credit. So, that was a real moment. Because this episode is pretty short, right? Episode 2 is short. Episode 4 is short.
This game moves. It gets clicks.
It does.
After the first 2 episodes, when they're setting up that story, the rest of those episodes just keep moving.
Yeah, I think this game, I clocked in under 5 hours. But episodes 2 and episodes 4 are definitely 40-minute episodes. Not much happens in this one. I find compared to everything else, this penultimate episode is the one that kind of the least amount of things happen. And that's okay. But that's where we end this episode. Gentlemen, any more comments about episode 4 before we close?
I was just really excited to get into episode 5. I started it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And same with me and the passenger that was sitting next to me. We both started episode 5 right away as well.
Did someone join you on the train while you started playing?
No, but there's such close seats that I was playing on my laptop, and he was definitely a part of the entire ride, watching, figuring out, or trying to figure out what kind of craziness am I playing.
We will be back next week for episode 5, Cry Wolf, of The Wolf Among Us, which will be our last episode in the Wolf Among Us series. If, as we've said before, if somehow you've stumbled all the way to the end of this and you've not heard the first 3 episodes, you can check those out at leftbehindgame.club, along with another 46 episodes of this show. Like we said, we've just hit 50. So again, thank you so much for listening if you've listened to a slew of our episodes. If folks want to interact with the community that has been built around this show, Mike, where would be the best place to do so?
You can find us on Discord at leftbehindgame.club. There's a big fat button right in the middle. You can click on it. You get teleported into a community of people who are very cool, who share a lot of really good game deals that are drying up my bank account, and are talking about the latest game that we're playing.
What were we talking about earlier? We had a really hot discussion around What was it around?
Discless Xbox. We were talking about whether you should buy digital copies or physical copies of games. We were talking about game collections and what the best way to preserve them is, and how you're ever going to be able to play games like this in the future. And I think we even talked a little bit about the new Xbox backwards compatibility improvements. So, there's a lot of cool discussions that are happening.
Jacob, so word on the street is we have a fancy-dancy Reddit subreddit now, correct?
That is correct. So if you go to reddit.com/r/leftbehindgameclub, we're posting all of our content on Reddit. In addition, there are a couple threads that kind of go with the show. So if you are on Reddit and you like this show, check that out. Again, that's reddit.com/r/leftbehindgameclub. Mo, if the folks want to find you on the internet, where's the best place to do so?
On most social media platforms, you can find me at murtadi or murtadi.com.
Mike, where can folks find you?
At Ruffolo M on most social places online and michaelruffolo.com. Jacob, where can the people find you at?
They can find me at Jacob McCourt, primarily on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram too. My website, jacobmccourt.com.
And that, my friends, is one less episode left behind.